Well, thank you. Before I get into this, I just wanted to talk 30 seconds about the Lost Treaty. We are going to have a follow-up. That first article, just so that you'll understand how great it's traveling. There isn't a day, 7 days a week, where 10 to 15 to 20 bloggers and news sites aren't referencing the article. We're still having 500 to 1,000 people every single day linking to that article. And that article is coming up on 3 to 4 weeks old, and that's just huge. We estimate over 700,000 people have read it already, and I asked Carmen, who is our true editor. Grammar is not my gift, and so she's the true editor of our website. She is doing a follow-up article. Tonight, that's an article is being uploaded sometime, you'll see it tomorrow, that shows what the liberals have been doing. Since they can't get cap and trade passed at the federal level, they are now doing it at the state level. And the states are compacting with each other to create their own version of cap and trade, basically. And so they are usurping the power of the federal government and trying to go into international treaties, which is unconstitutional. And so you'll see that article. I would encourage you to read it, because if you thought the Lost Treaty and the Clear Act got you upset, this will really get your feathers ruffled. So I am a gadget person, so let me just put this together real quick. Well, my name is Brian Ward. I recently became a pastor of a church in Niceville, Florida, the River of Life. And 3 months ago, I got a brand new boy back there. He's 3 months old. My little girl and my wife back there. My in-laws came, my brother-in-law. Many people have asked, what inspired you to write this? And it's a simple answer, it's a funny answer. It was Senator Durbin from Illinois. Coming home one day, or at home, I don't really remember. I just remember watching TV, doing what men do, flip channels. And I came across Senator Durbin just killing the CEOs of the oil companies. You remember back in 2008 when they had them all come up to Congress to testify why gasoline was so high. Now, I have to pay as much as anybody else does, and I didn't like the high cost of gasoline, but I inherently understand that the oil companies are one of the industries that the very thing that they dig up and produce, they don't have the right to determine the price of. It's an open commodity trading market, and the traders determine what the price of oil will be, not them. And so he made a statement, and if there's one thing I hate in life, it's hypocrisy. It's one of those things that just gets in my craw, and it would just bother me to no end until I do something about it. And he said, have you no shame what you're doing to the American people, to the truckers, to the farmers, to the housewives, the cost of gasoline going up? So I went quickly and researched. He talked about how he had to pay $63 that day to fill up his car. Well, I went and researched Chicago, Illinois that day, and he had to pay 17 of that dollars was in taxes. $17, because Chicago, they don't have a flat tax on their gasoline. It's a percentage tax. So as the gasoline goes up, they're in favor of it because their tax revenues go up. And so after about 2 months of just mulling this over, I said, I just have to do something. I can't be quiet any longer. And I said, but I don't want to do something just to be yapping my jaw. And I have to do something big, because that's the way I dream. I dream big and bigger than me most of the time. And so I thought, how do you reach the American people? How do you reach the people who are into Xbox? How do you reach the people who just want to go to the college football game and find a new girlfriend for the week and get this one job and go to a new job? How do you reach this culture that we have? It can't be a Thomas Sowell book that's 300 or 400 pages long, although I love Thomas Sowell and love all of his stuff. It can't be a Bastiat book, and it won't be Milton Friedman or any of the others. And it has to be something that is quick, that's entertaining, and it gets right to the point, and it's personal. So after mulling that over for about a month, I came up with this concept. Small booklets that can be read in 30 to 45 minutes in 5-minute bite-sized increments. That's full of pictures. And it's funny, when I go to places and I see people flipping through, they'll flip through back and forth, and all of a sudden they'll stop on a picture and read that page. And that's the whole reason we made every single page full color and made it real short and sweet. So the goal of this is it's going to be a series. This is the first of many coming out. The next one I'm contemplating, depending on what happens in the election, and depending on what happens with my book sales for Nationwide, just devoting it to the healthcare. I sincerely believe with all of my heart that based on what I have seen among the electorate and among the Democrats who are actually, they have paid advertisement saying that that they voted with the Republicans 80% of the time. And they're running from the Democrats. I believe that we have a real chance of repealing this, honestly, with all of my heart. Because the Democrats are scared, because every day we find out something more about Obamacare that comes out, dealing with the cost and the tax issues. And I'm going to have an article come out next week that shows how Obama actually did a temporary repeal of his own bill. And you'll read about that. It's a fun, sarcastic way of looking at his actions coming out. So every book, is the first chapter will always be about liberty, because we have to personalize the actions of the government and how it impedes the liberty of our lives. And so I love this one quote here about Patrick Henry. It says, "The Constitution is not an instrument for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government, lest it come to dominate our lives and interest." And I honestly can't think of any time in our history, in studying the history of America, where this is more true than today. The government not only wants to tax us, they want to tell us what we can purchase and not purchase. I did an article about Judge George Stee, or Stay, I'm not really sure how you pronounce his last name. He is the one I forget where he's at now. He's the one that ruled that Obamacare is constitutional. And I actually went and read the 22-page decision, which is just beyond any intelligence that they could even write such a decision. President Obama, his team, actually argued this statement: the fact that you chose not to purchase health insurance is proof that you engaged in commerce activity and that your chosen price was $0. Because you made a choice not to purchase health insurance, you have engaged in commerce, therefore the Commerce Clause applies to you.
You understand commerce is bad.
Yes. So I'm reading this going, what? I'm thinking, okay, now I'm beyond the point of understanding that this judge literally is wanting to legislate from the bench by passing a new amendment without the required 2/3 vote. And very few people picked up on that. And I know some people did later on. But basically, that would give the federal government 100% control over your life. If all you have to do is not engage in commerce activity to fall under the Commerce Clause, what can they not regulate in our lives? Now, thankfully, we have another judge. Well, there's a bunch of judges that's about to put their thoughts into the hat on this, and I think it's going to be repealed. I think it's going to be struck down as unconstitutional, specifically the personal mandate. So I'm getting off track. I guess y'all want to talk about my book.